There is a moment in the night when everything becomes still, when the noise of the day finally fades and the distractions that once filled every second begin to lose their grip. It is in this deep quiet, when the world seems to pause, that something deeper begins to stir. Midnight is not just another hour passing by on a clock. It carries a weight, a spiritual significance that goes far beyond what can be seen or understood in the natural. It is a crossing point between what is visible and what remains unseen. A sacred window where battles are fought in silence and victories are decided long before the morning light appears. In this hour, the atmosphere shifts in ways that are not always obvious, yet deeply felt. Thoughts can become louder, emotions can feel heavier, and the stillness can sometimes carry an unusual intensity. It is often in these quiet moments that worries attempt to resurface, that fear tries to whisper, and that the mind becomes a battlefield of its own. While the body seeks rest, the unseen realm becomes active, and what is ignored during the day often tries to rise during the night. This is why midnight is not a time to be taken lightly. It is a time that demands awareness, even in rest. But there is another side to this moment, one that carries immense power and authority. Midnight is not only a time when challenges arise, it is also the hour when chains are broken, when strongholds are weakened, and when what seemed impossible begins to shift. It is a time when silence becomes a weapon, when stillness carries strength, and when rest itself becomes a form of resistance against everything that seeks to disturb peace. What appears to be quiet on the outside can be filled with powerful movement on the inside. This is the hour where victory can be established without noise, where battles can be won without visible effort. It is not about struggle, but about positioning. It is about entering the night with an awareness that there is more happening than what meets the eye. Every second of this midnight hour holds the potential for transformation, for protection, and for renewal. What is spoken, what is believed, and what is allowed to settle in the atmosphere during this time can shape everything that follows. There is a reason why this moment feels different, why it carries a unique depth that cannot be replicated during the busyness of the day. Midnight strips away distractions and leaves only what is real. It exposes what has been hidden and reveals what has been ignored. Yet at the same time, it provides an opportunity to take control, to establish peace, and to stand in a place of unshakable strength. Tonight will not be like every other night that has passed. This is not just about closing the eyes and hoping for rest. This is not just about closing the eyes and hoping for rest. This is about entering a space where covering is established, where protection is activated, and where peace is intentionally released. This is about understanding that sleep does not have to mean vulnerability. It can become a place of security, a place where strength is renewed and where nothing is allowed to interfere. Every moment in this midnight hour can be filled with purpose. Every second can carry authority. What is allowed into this space matters, and what is declared over this time carries power. There is no randomness here, no uncertainty about what can happen. This is a moment that can be claimed, shaped, and filled with intention. Let this not be just another night that passes without awareness. Let this become a turning point, a moment where everything shifts from passive rest to active covering. Let every breath taken in this hour be surrounded by peace, and let every second be guarded by strength that does not fade. As the night deepens, let the atmosphere be filled with protection that cannot be broken. Let there be a sense of calm that overrides every form of fear. Let the stillness no longer feel empty, but instead feel filled with presence, authority, and assurance. This is the midnight hour, the place where battles begin, but more importantly, where victories are secured. As the depth of the night settles in and the stillness grows stronger, a covering begins to form, one that cannot be shaken. one that cannot be broken, one that stands firm against anything that attempts to rise in opposition. This is not an ordinary sense of safety. It is a divine protection that surrounds every part of existence, reaching beyond what can be touched and securing even what cannot be seen. It is a shield that does not weaken with time, a presence that does not fade with darkness, and a God that remains alert through every passing moment of the night. Every corner of this atmosphere becomes filled with peace that carries authority. There is no space left for fear to settle, no opening for anxiety to take root, and no pathway for disturbance to enter unnoticed. What once felt uncertain now unnoticed. What once felt uncertain now becomes firmly established in calm assurance. The air itself seems to shift, becoming lighter, clearer, and filled with a quiet strength that pushes back against anything that does not belong. Protection is not partial, it is complete. Every entrance is secured, every unseen door is closed, and every possible point of weakness is strengthened. Nothing is left exposed. Nothing is left vulnerable. Even the areas that once felt fragile are now covered with a force that cannot be penetrated. It is not a temporary barrier, but a constant presence that remains steady and unchanging. Throughout the entire night, there is an order being established in this moment, a divine alignment that ensures that everything is exactly where it should be. No chaos is allowed to take form, no confusion is allowed to grow, and no disruption is given permission to exist. What tries to approach with negative intent is stopped before it can even come close. What attempts to rise is immediately brought down, unable to withstand the authority that now fills the atmosphere. A sense of calm authority stands guard, not passive, not distant, but actively present. It watches over every breath, every thought, and every moment of rest. There is no lapse in this protection, no moment where it weakens or steps away. Even in the deepest stages of sleep, there is a spiritual awareness that remains alert, ensuring that nothing crosses the boundaries that have been set. Angelic protection surrounds this night with precision and purpose. There is a positioning that takes place, an unseen alignment where everything stands ready, everything stands firm, and everything stands in defense. No disturbance can slip through unnoticed. No hidden attack can move in silence, and no force of darkness can find a place to remain. The presence of this protection is not distant. It is close, immediate, and deeply rooted in every layer of the atmosphere. Every form of harm, whether known or unknown, is rendered powerless. It cannot advance, it cannot linger, and it cannot influence anything within this space. Even what has not yet revealed itself is already defeated, already blocked, and already removed. There is no need for fear, because nothing has permission to succeed. The night itself becomes a place of refuge, not uncertainty. What was once seen as a vulnerable time is now transformed into a fortified space, a place where rest is safe and where peace is uninterrupted. There is no tension left in the body, no unease left in the mind, and no heaviness left in the mind, and no heaviness left in the spirit. Everything begins to settle into a deep, unshakable calm. This protection does not depend on circumstances. It does not shift based on feelings or change based on external conditions. It remains constant, firm, and reliable. It is present in every second, covering every hour, and guarding every moment without interruption. Nothing is overlooked. Nothing is ignored. Every detail is accounted for, and every possible threat is neutralized before it can take form. The boundaries are clear, the covering is strong, and the authority is absolute. This night is not open to attack. This night is not exposed to harm. This night is secured, guarded, and completely defended. And within this protection, there is rest, not a fragile rest, but a deep, confident stillness that knows there is nothing to fear and nothing to fight, because everything has already been covered. Because everything has already been covered. As the night continues and the covering remains firmly in place, anything that was formed in secrecy begins to lose its power. Every hidden plan, every silent intention, and every unseen force that attempts to rise in darkness is exposed and dismantled before it can fully take shape. Nothing that was designed in the shadows is allowed to survive in this atmosphere of authority and protection. There are battles that never announce themselves, attacks that do not come with warning, and pressures that try to build quietly beneath the surface. These are the moments when confusion tries to settle in, when heaviness begins to grow without explanation, and when peace feels like it is slowly being replaced. But in this midnight hour, nothing hidden remains hidden for long. Everything that carries even the slightest trace of harm is brought into the light and stripped of its influence. Every negative word that has been spoken, whether Remon, Mabed, or forgotten, loses its effect completely. Every intention that was formed with harm in mind is neutralized before it can reach its target. There is no agreement with anything that opposes peace. And because there is no agreement, there is no power. What once may have had the potential to disturb is now rendered completely ineffective. Every unseen attack that attempts to create fear, anxiety, or unrest is broken at its root. It does not grow, it does not spread, and it does not linger. The moment it tries to rise, it is already defeated. There is no delay in this process, no struggle required to push it back. The authority present in this atmosphere ensures that nothing negative can establish itself, not even for a moment. Chains that were meant to bind begin to shatter completely. These are not just physical limitations, but emotional weights, mental pressures, and spiritual burdens that try to hold everything down. One by one, they break apart, losing their grip and falling away without resistance. What once felt heavy is lifted, what once felt tight is released, and what once felt tight is released, and what once felt impossible to escape is completely removed. There is no space left for fear to operate. Every whisper that tries to plant doubt is silenced instantly. Every thought that attempts to bring confusion is replaced with clarity. The mind is no longer open to attack, no longer a place where negativity can settle and grow. Instead, it becomes a place of strength, where nothing is accepted unless it aligns with peace and truth. Where nothing is accepted unless it aligns with peace and truth. What was sent with harmful intent returns void, stripped of any ability to affect or influence. It does not linger in the atmosphere, it does not circle back, and it does not find another way in. It simply ceases to exist in this space. There is a complete disconnection from anything that carries negativity, ensuring that nothing can attach itself or remain hidden. Even the attacks that were never noticed, the ones that try to operate quietly in the background, are brought to an end. Nothing escapes this covering. Nothing slips through unnoticed. Every detail is accounted for. Every attempt is stopped, and every force that tries to rise is forced to fall immediately. This is not a moment of defense alone. It is a moment of complete victory. There is no back and forth, no ongoing struggle, no uncertainty about the outcome. Everything that opposes peace is already defeated, already removed, and already rendered powerless. The atmosphere becomes lighter, clearer, and completely free from anything that once tried to weigh it down. There is no residue left behind, no trace of what was broken, and no reminder of what once tried to rise. Only peace remains, only strength remains, and only clarity fills the space. This night is not marked by struggle, but by authority. It is not defined by what tried to attack, but by what has already been overcome. Every hidden force is exposed. Every negative plan is destroyed, and every attempt to disrupt is brought to nothing. What was meant for harm has no place here. What tried to rise has already fallen, and what once seemed hidden is now completely erased, leaving behind nothing but stillness, strength, and undeniable victory. As every hidden attack is broken and every trace of disturbance is removed, a deep transformation begins to take place within the mind. What once felt like a battlefield filled with restless thoughts and shifting emotions now becomes a place of stillness and control. The noise fades completely, replaced by a calm that is steady, grounded, and unshakable. There is no room left for chaos, no space left for confusion, and no opening for anxiety to return. The mind settles into a rhythm of peace, where every thought flows with clarity and purpose. There is no rush, no overwhelming flood of ideas, no tension pulling in different directions. Instead, there is alignment, a sense that everything is exactly where it should be. Each thought carries calmness, each moment carries ease, and each moment carries ease, and each breath reinforces a growing sense of stability. Peace does not arrive as something fragile or temporary. It establishes itself as a constant presence, something that remains firm regardless of what tries to rise around it. It becomes a guard over every mental space, ensuring that nothing enters unless it aligns with calm and truth. There is no effort required to maintain it, no struggle to hold on to it. It simply exists steady and unmovable. Every form of anxiety loses its place completely. What once tried to create unease, what once caused restlessness, what once made the mind feel unsettled is now gone without a trace. There is no echo of it, no lingering effect, no subtle return. It is replaced entirely with a deep sense of assurance that everything is under control, everything is covered, and everything is secure. Clarity takes the place of confusion. Thoughts that once felt scattered now come together with precision and order. There is an understanding that flows naturally, without force, without pressure. The mind no longer questions in fear, but rests in confidence. Wealth in confidence. There is no need to overthink, no need to analyze endlessly, because peace has already established its authority. Authority itself begins to rise from within this stillness. From within this stillness. It is not loud or aggressive, but quiet and certain. It carries a strength that does not need to prove itself, a confidence that does not need validation. This authority governs every thought, ensuring that nothing out of alignment can remain. It sets boundaries effortlessly, allowing only what is good, what is true, and what is peaceful to exist. Even in the deepest moments of rest, this authority does not fade. It remains active, watchful, and present, ensuring that the mind stays protected at all times. There is no vulnerability and sleep, no moment where control is lost. Instead, there is a continuous covering that keeps everything in perfect order. The body responds to this peace as well. Muscles relax, tension releases, and every part of the being begins to align with the calm that fills the mind. Breathing becomes slower, deeper, and more natural. There is no strain, no pressure, no discomfort, only a smooth flow of rest that moves effortlessly through every part of existence. This is not just rest, this is restoration. Every moment spent in this state rebuilds strength, renews energy, and reinforces stability. What was drained is refilled. What was weak is strengthened. What was unsettled is brought into perfect balance. Dreams, too, fall under this covering of peace. There is no disturbance, no confusion, no hidden negativity allowed to enter. Every moment of sleep remains protected, calm, and undisturbed. Even in the unseen spaces of the mind, there is order, clarity, and complete security. Nothing has permission to disrupt this state. No sudden fear, no wandering thought, no external influence can break through what has been established. The boundaries are firm, the peace is deep, and the authority is absolute. This mind is no longer a place of struggle. It is no longer a space where battles are fought. It has become a place of rest, a place of strength, and a place where peace reigns without interruption. And within this peace, there is complete assurance, an unshakable knowing that everything is exactly as it should be, and nothing has the power to change it. And nothing has the power to change it. As peace fully settles and authority takes its place, a final declaration rises, one that seals everything that has been established throughout this night. This is not a fragile hope or a distant possibility. It is a firm and undeniable reality. The night is no longer uncertain, no longer open to disruption, no longer a space where anything can go wrong. It is claimed completely, secured entirely, and marked by victory in every sense. Every hour that follows carries this covering. There is no moment left unguarded, no second left exposed. From the beginning of this night to the very first light of morning, everything remains under protection that cannot be shaken. Time itself moves within this security, unable to break free from the authority that has been set in place. Nothing is random, nothing is left to chance. Everything is held together in perfect control. There is no loss in this night. Nothing will be taken, nothing will be diminished, and nothing will be disturbed. What belongs here remains intact, untouched, and fully preserved. There is a completeness in this victory, a sense that everything is exactly as it should be, with no gaps, no weaknesses, and no areas left unprotected. Darkness no longer carries power. It no longer holds influence, and it no longer has a voice. What once may have seemed intimidating or overwhelming is now completely silent, unable to rise, unable to move, and unable to affect anything within this space. Fear has no place here. It cannot speak, it cannot grow, and it cannot even exist in the presence of what has been established. Weakness is replaced with strength that continues to build with every passing moment. There is a steady renewal taking place, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually as well. Every breath taken strengthens this state. Every second of rest deepens it, and every moment of stillness reinforces it. By the time morning arrives, there is not just rest, but restoration, complete and undeniable. Energy is restored in ways that go beyond what is felt on the surface. There is a rebuilding happening from within, a quiet strengthening that prepares for what lies ahead. Fatigue is replaced with vitality. Heaviness is replaced with lightness, and exhaustion is replaced with clarity and focus. Nothing remains drained or depleted. Everything is brought back into fullness. There is no interruption to this process. There is no interruption to this process. No disturbance can break it. No sudden shift can stop it. And no external influence can interfere with what has already been secured. The night continues in perfect alignment, flowing smoothly and steadily toward the morning without resistance. Victory is not something that is being waited for. It is already present. It exists in every moment, in every breath, and in every second of this night. There is no uncertainty about the outcome, no question about what will happen next. The result has already been decided, and it is final. Everything that needed to be broken has been broken. Everything that needed to be removed has been removed. Everything that needed to be established has been firmly put in place. There is nothing left undone, nothing left incomplete, and nothing left incomplete, and nothing left unresolved. This night stands as a finished work, secure, covered, and filled with peace. It does not shift, it does not weaken, and it does not change. It remains steady from beginning to end, holding everything in perfect balance. And as the night continues to unfold, there is a deep, unshakable assurance that nothing can alter what has already been declared. Victory is not fragile, it is permanent. It is not distant, it is not uncertain. It is not uncertain, it is absolute. The night is covered, the night is covered, the outcome is sealed, and everything rests in complete and undeniable victory. Let this moment not fade when the night passes, and let this not become something that is experienced once and then forgotten. What has been established here carries the power to become a constant, a daily covering. G, that strengthens with consistency and deepens with repetition. This is not just a single night of peace. It is an invitation into a new pattern, a new rhythm, where every night becomes guarded, every moment becomes secured, and every period of rest becomes filled with purpose. There is power in returning again and again, in allowing this covering to settle, not just once, but continuously. The more it becomes part of the night, the more natural it feels, until peace is no longer something that has to be searched for. It becomes something that is always present. Fear begins to lose its memory, anxiety begins to lose its voice, and rest becomes something steady and reliable instead of uncertain and fragile. Make this a habit that cannot be easily broken. Let it be something that is returned to without hesitation, something that becomes as natural as closing the eyes at night, not out of routine alone, but out of understanding that what is being built here is not temporary. It is a covering that grows stronger each time it is reinforced, a protection that becomes deeper each time it is embraced. Play this prayer every night and allow it to fill the atmosphere completely. Let it settle into every corner, into every space, into every moment of the night. Even when words are no longer being consciously heard, let their presence remain. Let them continue to speak, continue to establish, and continue to guard, even in the quietest moments of sleep. Consistency transforms everything. Consistency, what feels intentional at first, becomes effortless over time. What once required focus becomes automatic. What once required focus becomes automatic. And what once felt like an act becomes a state of being. Night after night, this covering begins to shape the atmosphere until it no longer needs to be built from the beginning. It is already there, already waiting, already established. Return to it without delay, without hesitation, and without doubt. Let it become the first choice, the natural response, the steady foundation for every night that follows. There is no need to search for alternatives, no need to question its effectiveness. What has been established here speaks for itself through the peace it brings, the protection it provides, and the strength it builds. Over time, the difference becomes undeniable. Nights become deeper, rest becomes stronger, and mornings begin to carry a new kind of clarity and energy. There is a shift that takes place, not sudden but steady, not forced but natural. A transformation that grows quietly until it becomes impossible to ignore. Stay consistent even when it feels unnecessary. Stay committed even when everything already feels calm. Because it is not just about maintaining peace, it is about strengthening it, securing it, and ensuring that nothing can take its place. Let this be the standard for every night moving forward. Let this be the covering that remains unshaken, the habit that remains unbroken, and the source of strength that remains constant. And as each morning arrives, step into it with confidence, not wondering what the night has taken, but knowing what the night has secured, not carrying heaviness, but carrying strength, not facing uncertainty, but walking in clarity. Stay consistent, stay covered, stay strong, and let every night continue to declare what has already been established. Complete peace, complete protection, and complete victory.